I moved into an apartment last year in a quiet part of town. Nothing fancy, but cheap and decent enough. From the start, I noticed something weird. Every night around 3 a.m., I'd hear slow footsteps pacing back and forth in the hallway outside my door. Never rushed, always steady, always around the same time. I figured it was the guy next door in 3C. Maybe he had insomnia or worked nights. One evening I caught a glimpse of him through my peephole. Pale guy, kind of gaunt, wearing an old dark coat. He didn't look at me, just kept walking up and down the hall like he was patrolling. Next morning, I casually mentioned it to the landlord. She froze and said, "Nobody lives in 3C. That apartment's been empty for 2 years since the man who lived there passed away." I laughed it off. Maybe she was mistaken. But that night, I looked again, and the man stopped. Dead in his tracks. Turned his head toward my door like he knew I was watching. I locked everything and barely slept. The night before I moved out, I heard him stop right in front of my door. Then, barely audible, I heard him whisper, "Still watching? I don't think I'll ever live in another apartment again." There's a house across the street from mine that's always been a little strange. The guy who lived there, Mr. Delaney, was a quiet, reclusive old man. I'd see him sometimes sitting in his upstairs window, just staring outside for hours. 1 week, I noticed his light was on at night, but I hadn't seen him at all during the day. The weird part? The same figure was still in the window. Same silhouette. Every night I figured maybe he'd passed away and someone else was staying there. A few days later, an ambulance and police showed up. Turns out, Mr. Delaney had died in his chair downstairs, heart failure. According to the report, he'd been dead for almost a week. That made no sense. I saw someone upstairs. The shadow in the window, night after night. It waved back once when I waved. The creepiest part? After the body was taken away and the house was officially empty, the light upstairs still came on. And now, the figure isn't in the window anymore. Now it stands just behind the glass on the first floor. I rented a small guest house behind an older couple's home last summer. They were polite but oddly firm about one rule: never go into the basement. They said it was dangerous, unstable stairs, possibly moldy. Whatever. I wasn't planning to explore. Then, late one night, I heard a strange sound coming from beneath the floorboards. Like crying. It went on for hours. The next night, it happened again. I couldn't take it anymore. I opened the basement door. What I saw still makes my skin crawl. There was a woman, chained to the wall, bruised, terrified. She looked up at me and whispered, "Don't let them know you saw me. Please." I ran out, called the police. When they arrived, they searched the basement. Nothing. No chains, no woman. The basement looked freshly painted. The cops left and told me it was probably a dream or a prank. But that night, taped to my door, was a handwritten note. "Curiosity is dangerous. Keep out." I moved out the next day. Never looked back. Thank you for watching. See you next time.